all that I got. I'm Mackenzie, and we are talking about stress and anxiety today. What stresses you the heck out, and how do you cope with that?
So when I'm around people for a long period of time and I don't have an escape route, my body literally starts to shake.
How do you cope
So
with
this is
that?
weird. There's a song on the Inception soundtrack called Time. And I used to put my headphones in, close my eyes in a dark corner, and just listen to that song. And it was like, I would just like recharge.
So a coping mechanism, I actually just recently found a whole playlist in order to do CPR to. So it's at 100 BPMs every song.
So you cope by doing CPR.
No. I listen to
That's what I
songs
heard.
at the same rate as CPR.
That's what I heard. Well, one of the things that has always stressed me out is honestly anything I have to present or test or anything like that. And so when I go home immediately, whether it's before or after, I just numb out by watching Netflix. Quite honestly.
Classic millennials,
100%
am I right?
just numb out. It's not even a question.
You're better
Every
than
single
this,
time.
America. We're all better than this. I'm glad
not
that you
better.
brought that
No.
up because I thought today it would be fun to test the limits of our anxiety. Not fear, but anxiety. So I hope you girls are up for this, but we're going to play a little game I like to call What's in the Box. Good?
Is anything living?
No comment. Let's play. Okay, round one, what's in the box? You guys will both be sticking your arms in and you have to guess what is in your box. Ready, set, go.
My hands are sweating. Wait,
I'm
where's the-
really
oh, gosh.
stressed. I'm afraid.
Well,
She's braver
Mackenzie,
than
use
I
your
am.
left
Why
hand.
Are you using your
Why are you
right
using
hand?
that?
On my left hand.
Feel it.
I know, I'm like really afraid. I can't. She's braver than me.
Mackenzie's hyper. Where's that bag?
Okay.
Is it a turtle?
Let's go, Trey.
I'm so.
It's not a turtle. This.
I need the.
Is it a starfish? Is it an octopus? It has tentacles. Andrew, where are you
Is
at?
it alive? Just tell me that.
Stage one, I don't think it's alive. It may have been at one point, but it's not anymore.
Okay, as long as it's dead, I'm
Octopus.
fine. Where is it?
Wait, is it? Is it a food group? I know.
What is that?
I can.
All right, you can look in your boxes.
What? Meatball.
Okay, my defense, tentacles.
You got pretty close. Closer than
What was
Andrea.
yours?
Round two.
I'm ready.
No.
We go from
It's
stress
alive.
to anxiety.
I'm ready.
I'm
I'm ready. I'm
Go,
ready.
ladies.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Stress. It's alive.
I have so much. What is that?
Mackenzie, what's your first guess?
Some sort of dirt habitat?
Okay, fair enough.
I'm sweating a lot.
Dre?
What is yours?
It's alive. It's bugs. Bugs of some sort.
Okay, what is it? Can we see?
We'll take it. All right, yeah. You can look.
Cameron! Get in position.
Okay, all right. Stage three, move from stress to more stress to full-blown anxiety. Ladies, hands in the boxes.
Cameron.
Stage three, here we go.
Okay, are you ready?
I deserve like
Same time this time.
milkshake.
3,
Okay.
2, 1, go.
Oh, whoa, that's bigger. Oh, it's slimy. It's really slimy. I don't know.
I'm gonna need more detail. More
Look at her
detail.
face.
All right, you can look at your boxes.
Oh no!
Shrimp.
But this was a game, and we have students, people everywhere deal with stress and anxiety on a daily basis, a weekly basis, all of that. And so I actually grabbed a couple of our students to talk to them about anxiety. So check this out. Hey, I am here with two of our students, Cameron and Olivia.
What's up, guys? I go to Del Oro. I am a junior, and I love to play basketball. Basketball is my game.
I'm Olivia. I'm a junior at Forest Lake, and fun fact, the top thing on my bucket list is climbing Mount Kilimanjaro.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so this week on UTV, we are talking about stress and anxiety. When you guys hear me say those words or stumble over those words, what do you guys think of, or what does it make you feel?
First thing that I think of is just how the things that you may get anxious about, they could be perfectly normal things or just little things that really build up. And then everything kind of ties together and it's very overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
We all deal with stress majorly, with grades and like girls or just like anything, just like life. Like no matter like what you're doing with the girl you like, it's always gonna be you're always gonna be nervous because you don't want to like like impress her in a bad way or like do something that'll make her not like you or something like that. So
I'd say really for as long as I could remember, I've struggled with anxiety. Really, first grade, I remember getting bad anxiety attacks. And over the years, it manifested into something greater and kind of took root. And that's when I started struggling with depression, is really maybe 2 years ago, freshman year. And the thing is, I kept it to myself. It was very isolating. So it was a definite struggle trying to do that alone. I was able to be in this amazing group with some of my friends, and they sat me down and were like, we know that you're not okay, and it's okay not to be okay. And they just, in the best way possible, kind of forced me to open up. So make sure that even if you don't feel comfortable, find people that you are comfortable with to just be able to talk about whatever is hurting you or causing you anxiety. So it could be a small group leader, a parent, a close friend.
How do you and your small group, like the guys that you do life with, how do you guys deal with stress?
So we meet either 2 or 3 times a week, where usually on Wednesdays is a small group, and then on Saturdays or Sunday we'll get together at night and we'll play basketball, or we'll box each other, and then at the end we'll light a little fire, and then we'll just go around and talk about what we need prayer for, and you need to get close to someone at least, and then every once in a while you'll text and be like, hey man, what's going on, I haven't seen you in a few days, and then they'll be super impacted by that, and then they'll open up to you, and then you invite them to your small group, and then it just goes super deep in small groups.
Clearly, as we saw today, stress is something that everybody experiences. And just like we saw with those 2 stories, anxiety is something that not everybody lives with. But Mackenzie, it is a big part of your story.
It is, yeah.
So do you want to share a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So when I was actually a junior in high school, out of nowhere, during the summer, I started to experience something that I couldn't really explain. So couldn't really breathe well. I started to get really sick. I'd have to literally physically run out of different areas that I was in just to escape. And it took me a few months working with my parents and working with a few different people to understand that to be anxiety in its truest form, that something was actually happening within me that was really debilitating to me.
So, but that is all encompassing. Like we just heard from Cameron and Olivia, it manifests itself in a lot of different ways.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Yours is pretty broad. How did you cope? Because some stuff you can't avoid, taking tests,
absolutely.
flying. How do you cope with that?
So I would say from my experience and from actually walking with a lot of people through this is a lot of times where it starts is stress. So if you're out there and you're feeling stressed or you're feeling nervous, you don't have anxiety. And that's okay to admit that there's a difference between the two. But there is a point where it crosses over into anxiety. And you'll be able to tell that because you begin to have a physical reaction, whether that is your mind racing really fast or you're throwing up or you can't breathe. When it hits that point, that's when you need to lean into the 2 responses. So first is to know what God's role is in the whole thing. Because it's our instinct to think that God is mad, that God is punishing us, that God isn't in control of the situation, but most importantly, for you to deal with and work through the fact that God is not angry with you for having these thoughts. In fact, there was a verse I read every single day, multiple times a day, and it was Philippians 4:6-7. I'm going to read it for you guys. It says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." This verse is not saying that you can't be anxious and be a Christian. What this verse is saying is a healthy response if you are dealing with anxiety. And what that is to lay it at the feet of Jesus, which is going to sound very Christianese. What that literally means is for you to speak out loud and try, if you're not a Christian, try just talking and see what it feels like to get it all out. But that's saying, God, this is what's happening in my heart. These are the thoughts inside my head. I'm scared because of A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
But that's the first response.
Yeah.
And then second response is to understand that we are wired for relationship. Every single human being is wired.
Cameron.
I know. So sorry, Cameron. But we are wired.
Relationships give me anxiety.
Yes. But we are wired to be with people. So if you are walking through this, please do not walk alone.
Yeah.
Whether that is talking to your parents, an adult that you trust, or honestly going to counseling. I went to counseling for years. So whatever you need to do in order to walk through this, let it be with people. And so if you are out there and you are dealing with legitimate anxiety, you can text the word HOPE, HOPE, to 56316. And here at Bayside, at the church we have the privilege of working at, we have people who would love to step alongside you in that journey. So don't go at it alone. Believe me, stress and anxiety, big deals, but also we believe that we have a God who can conquer all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if you have a great coping strategy or honestly a pretty funny story of how you reacted to stress, make sure you put it in the comments below. We want to interact with you. We want to know your story. And make sure you subscribe because we're going to be back next week.
Yeah.
And we want to see you. So see you there.